so again, this is the icebreaker, and my first step is I'm just gonna kind of eye it up that tail, and I want it maybe about half the hook length long on the 200R, because again, 200R is kind of a long hook. So once I have it and I see it right there, it's about how long it'll do, I'll just kind of switch hands, put it right there, and then I'll start tying it in right there. Might be a little bit long, and if you're long to start, just kind of on those first 2 wraps, just kind of pull up and snug it. Okay, and then same drill right here. I just, with each wrap, I just want to make sure if I kick it over this way that I pull it that way on the next wrap, so it just stays straight over the top. Okay, and this thread, this fly can tend to get a little bit of buildup on it, so you know, I just want to make sure I don't make any unnecessary wraps that I don't need to make. And then I'm kind of using that thicker part right here to kind of create a slight taper, because this part right here, it's a little thicker than it is down at the end, so it's going to almost create a slight taper in the body. Pull it forward. Yeah. Break. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take a piece of this, I'm using extra small silver wire, and then I'm going to take a piece of that small red D-rib. And when you're tying D-rib in, one side is flat, the other side, that's why it's called D, it's kind of curved, the bottom's flat. You want to make sure that you tie the flat part up against the hook so that when you're wrapping it, the rounded side stands up. If the flat side sits down, and it's a little easier on the bigger size. Sometimes on the small one though, it's almost hard to tell which side is which, especially when you're going blind. Okay. So I'm just going to tie these in together. This wire. Okay. Now right here, once I have them both secured, I'm really going to stretch that D-rib so that when I tie it in, it's a little bit thinner. Okay, right to there. Come forward. And just make sure everything's covered up. Sometimes if a little bit of that silver wire is exposed, it'll kind of show through when you wrap over it. So I just want to make sure everything's red on the underbody. Okay. Now right here on the back, really tight wraps. Okay. To about right there. Oop, I just screwed that up. We're good. What I did there is I want to make sure that that bead, I leave a little bit of room on the front there, because that's where everything's going to go in front of. That bead isn't going up against the hook eye. So good thing I caught it. Okay, now right here, I'm going to kind of loosen up on my thread torque, or on the torque I'm putting on this D-rib. That way it's not a stretch, and it'll kind of create a little bit of taper. So you can do that by just adjusting how tight you're pulling. Stretch it, trim it. Okay. Now I'm going to take that wire, and if I can, I'm just going to try to go in between each little rib of the D-rib. I cannot even see what I'm doing, so maybe I'm close. It's not, a little off. Am I on it?
Yeah.
Am I on it?
Yeah.
Am I on it?
Yeah.
Yeah! That's what we call teamwork. Okay. Helicopter it off, just spin it. Okay. Now I'm going to take that bead and snug it in there as tight as I can. Come in front, I just hopped it, just like that. And I just kind of got ahead of myself there, and I wouldn't have put as much thread base there, so I could have gotten a little tighter there, but that'll play. All right, so now in front of the bead, I'm going to take a gray or a calabatus colored UV ice dub, hence the name the icebreaker. And I'm just going to tie it in fairly loose. I don't want it to be real tight because I want it to kind of almost weave in with the soft tackle color that I'm going to put on it. It's going to be a little full. Okay, just like that. And with each wrap, I'm just kind of pulling back almost over that bead. Just like that. So it's almost like I'm kind of creating a soft hackle with that ice dub a little bit. Okay. Now, final step. I think the original recipe for this calls for hen on the soft hackle. Ostrich herring is a lot easier to work with. It's not going to be as long, but I think it creates the same effect, and they eat it just the same. And this is a heck of a lot easier to work with. So if you want to try hen, go for it. This is the easy way to do it, though. Okay. Get a couple wraps in there.
Right, you see my last week I said you should get the bigger ostrich herring.
Yeah.
Because of that right there.
Get in there. Now right there, it's kind of almost standing up like a dry fly hackle. Get your fingers wet. Kind of sweep everything back. And then with your tie-in, it'll just kind of sweep back like you want it to. Okay. Put a little thread head down there. Right there. Whip finish. Yep, try not to catch anything on the whip finish. Okay. That is the icebreaker.